In the vast and silent void of Nu, the darkness was palpable, like a dense fog enveloping everything around. Adam, the creator god, awakened amidst the chaos, feeling the weight of the solitude that surrounded him. He floated in his own emptiness, reflecting on what could be. "Why am I here?" he questioned himself, his voice echoing in the silence. A formless world is a world without life. Determined to change this reality, his will began to vibrate through the abyss, a force pulsing within him, yearning for creation. With a powerful gesture, Adam focused his thoughts, and thus the land began to emerge from the primordial sea. A mound of earth, solid and firm, rose like a rock amid the vast waters. "I am Adam, the self-created," he declared, his voice now resonating with newfound vigor. The power of creation flowed through him, a fountain of energy that shaped the world. He observed his work with satisfaction, feeling that every grain of sand, every drop of water, every breath of air was imbued with his essence. "This will be a place of life," he murmured, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. But as Adam lost himself in thought, a shadow moved in the depths of Nu. The presence of Apep, the serpent of chaos, was not merely a whisper in the darkness. It was a promise of destruction. Unaware of this threat, Adam decided to take another step forward in his creation. Focusing once again, he extended his will, and from his own shadow, two beings began to take form. Shu, the god of air, and Tefnut, the goddess of moisture, emerged as reflections of his own essence. "Welcome, my children," Adam said, emotion spilling over in his voice. "Together, we will shape the land and the atmosphere. You are the light that will give life to this world." Shu looked at his father, awestruck. "Father, what must we do now?" Tefnut, in turn, smiled, her gaze shining with a mix of curiosity and determination. "Let us unite our powers and create what is necessary for life to flourish." With a nod, Adam replied, "Yes, the union of our powers will bring harmony to this place." And so, amid the solitude of Nu, creation began to unfold, a dance between light and shadow that would shape the destiny of the universe. The atmosphere created by Shu and Tefnut pulsed with life. White clouds danced across the blue sky, while the enveloping moisture began to shape rivers and lakes that wound through the newly formed land. Adam, watching from his mound, felt a deep pride as he saw his world flourish. The vibrant colors of vegetation and the songs of birds echoed like a symphony of possibilities. "Look!" exclaimed Tefnut, her eyes shining with joy. "Life is sprouting in every corner. Flowers are blooming and animals are appearing. It's as if the earth is awakening from a long sleep." Shu, however, observed with a more serious expression. "Yes, but we know that harmony is fragile. We must protect what we have created." He looked to the horizon, where dark clouds began to form. "I sense a disturbance in the air. Something is approaching." Adam furrowed his brow, feeling his son's unease. "What do you see, Shu? We cannot allow chaos to invade our world." Meanwhile, in the depths of Nu, Apep, the serpent of chaos, stirred. His eyes glowed with intense hatred, and his body writhed in a dance of destruction. "These foolish gods think they can create a world without me." Apep roared, his voice echoing like thunder. "I am the shadow that brings balance. They will feel my wrath." Back on the surface, Adam and his children sensed the atmosphere shift. The gentle breeze turned into a biting wind, and the white clouds were swiftly replaced by a shroud of darkness. "Apep is coming," said Tefnut, her voice now tense. "We must prepare." Adam, with the determination of a true creator, summoned Shu and Tefnut. "Unite your strengths. We need to confront this serpent before it destroys what we have built." Shu hesitated, wrestling with feelings of obligation and compassion. "Father, what if Apep is not only seeking destruction? What if he is in pain? I sense his turmoil, and it unsettles me." "We cannot be swayed by compassion when chaos approaches," Adam replied, but Shu's doubt echoed in his heart. Prepare yourselves, for the battle ahead will test our power and our unity. As the gods braced themselves, Apep's shadow stretched over creation, and the universe became a battleground of tension between light and darkness. Apep's energy spread like a shadow over the newly formed land, and violent storms and natural disasters began to ravage the world. Dark clouds accumulated in the sky, and lightning sliced through the darkness, creating a terrifying spectacle. Tefnut, the goddess of moisture, struggled to calm the turbulent waters that threatened to engulf the land. With her hands raised, she invoked the gentle rain, but the force of Apep was overwhelming. "Silence, O waters! Return to your origin!" Tefnut shouted, her voice echoing among the thunder. But the storm seemed to mock her efforts, and Apep's wrath pulsed in every drop of rain, in every gust of wind. Desperate, Tefnut felt the weight of helplessness growing within her. If only we could understand Apep. He wasn't always like this, she reflected aloud, her heart aching for the serpent of chaos. Meanwhile, in a meeting filled with tension, Adam watched his children, Shu and Tefnut, with concern etched on his face. He knew the situation was becoming critical. "My children," he began, his voice firm yet heavy with sadness. Apep is not just an enemy. He was once a guardian of creation, a being who protected the harmony of the universe. But envy and jealousy corrupted him. Shu, who had been silent until then, lifted his gaze. "What happened to him, father? How can someone become so lost?" Adam sighed, his gaze distant. Apep felt overshadowed by the light I created, and in his pain, he turned against the very essence of creation. He became what he feared most, a destroyer. Adam's words reverberated in Shu's mind, and he felt a wave of empathy for what Apep had become. Perhaps compassion can save him. If we can talk to him, maybe we can bring him back. "Shu," Tefnut intervened. "He is not just a wounded being. He is the very embodiment of chaos. How can we expect him to listen?" "We have to try," Shu insisted, his determination growing. "Only by seeking truth and compassion can we understand the pain that led him down this dark path." The decision was made. Shu, driven by a deep impulse, felt that compassion might be the key to confronting Apep and seeking redemption for the serpent of chaos. Shu entered the dark cave, the humidity of the environment enveloping his body like a heavy cloak. The echoes of his own breath seemed to merge with the oppressive silence that ruled there. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he glimpsed Apep, the colossal serpent, coiled in the shadows. Apep's shining scales reflected the little light that penetrated the space, creating a sinister spectacle. "Why have you come, Shu?" Apep's voice sounded low and filled with pain. "Have you come to bring me more misery or merely to gloat about your light?" "No, Apep," Shu replied, trying to keep calm in his voice. "I came seeking answers. What happened to you? Why did you turn against creation?" The serpent raised its head, revealing eyes that seemed like abysses of suffering. "I was once a guardian, a protector, but Adam, in his quest for power, relegated me to darkness. He made me feel insignificant, and the anger transformed into a poison that now courses through my veins. Every act of his creation is a reminder of my fall." "I understand your pain," Shu said, stepping forward. "But you don't have to continue down this path. Darkness is not the only option. We can find a way together. Compassion can heal even the deepest wounds." Apep laughed, a sound that echoed like thunder in the cave. "Companionship? Compassion? Do you really believe this can save what's left of me? You are naive, Shu. I am the serpent of chaos, and destruction is my legacy." Shu felt the tension in the air, as if every word from Apep was a sharp blade. "It doesn't have to be this way. I am your brother. We can face this together." However, his hope was soon dashed. "You know nothing about me," Apep roared, attacking Shu with unrestrained fury. With a quick movement, the serpent launched its sharp scales toward the god of air, who barely had time to dodge. The blow was violent, and Shu fell to the ground, feeling the pain cut through his flesh. "You cannot understand me," Apep continued, advancing. Only destruction brings relief to the pain I feel. In that moment of despair, Tefnut, sensing her brother's distress, appeared at the cave entrance. "Shu!" she shouted, realizing the situation. Her presence illuminated the dark space, and a wave of moisture began to swirl around her, creating a shield of water. "Stay behind me, Shu!" Tefnut commanded, using her powers to raise a liquid barrier between Apep and her brother. "We can resolve this, Apep. We don't need to fight." The serpent hesitated, the fury that had once dominated its being beginning to mix with a fraction of doubt. "Do you really believe you can save what is already lost?" "Yes, Apep," Tefnut replied, her determination unwavering. "Not everything is lost. Love and compassion can still bring light to the darkness. We are not your enemies." Silence fell in the cave as the three gods faced each other. The tension in the air was palpable, and Apep's internal struggle manifested in every movement of his body. The battle between light and darkness raged on, but now a new possibility hung in the atmosphere. The clash among the gods intensified across the vastness of the newly created world. Thunder and lightning echoed like cries of pain and fury as Apep, the serpent of chaos, writhed and roared, unleashing waves of darkness that devastated everything in their path. Adam watched, anguished, as the result of his creation was consumed by the serpent's wrath. The skies had turned into a battlefield, with Shu and Tefnut bravely fighting alongside their father, trying to contain Apep's destructive power. "We need to act now, before everything is lost," shouted Tefnut, her words filled with desperation. Shu, gasping for breath, shook his head, his eyes reflecting the internal conflict he felt. "But how can we defeat him? Apep's power is colossal. He was once a guardian, and now he is our greatest threat." Feeling the urgency of the situation, Adam raised his arms to the sky. "I will invoke the essence of Nu, the primordial force that gave rise to everything. If we unite our energies, we can restore balance." Adam's words resonated like a mantra, and an intense light began to emanate from his being, illuminating the darkness that Apep had brought. "Focus," commanded Adam, and as the winds howled and the waters swirled around them, Shu and Tefnut joined their powers with their father's. "Now, together, let's create a storm that will trap Apep and bring harmony back." The sky began to fill with dark, threatening clouds as lightning danced in the air. The storm intensified, and amidst the chaos, Apep found himself surrounded. He roared in fury, but Adam's spell was relentless. At the climax of the battle, something surprising happened. The serpent, in a last-ditch effort to resist, began to change. Its serpentine form unraveled, revealing a more human figure, a countenance that displayed vulnerability and pain. "Why do you force me to fight?" Apep questioned, his voice now laden with exhaustion and despair. "I am not just the serpent of chaos. I am the pain, the loneliness. I am the shadow you created." The shock in Adam's eyes was palpable, and for the first time, the realization that the true enemy was not just Apep, but the pain that had shaped him, began to stir in his heart. The storm of light and shadow finally dissipated, leaving Apep vulnerable, curled up under Adam's attentive gaze. The air was charged with electricity, and the silence that followed felt almost sacred. The serpent, once imposing and terrifying, was now merely a shadow of what it had been, its dull scales reflecting the light faintly. Adam, with a firm yet compassionate voice, approached. "Apep," Adam began, "I see the pain you carry. You are not just a symbol of chaos, but also of what could have been. True strength does not lie in destruction, but in unity." Apep's eyes, once filled with rage, now brimmed with tears. "No one has ever bothered to listen to me," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I was rejected, and the pain turned into vengeance. What could have been a force of protection became a weapon of destruction. Can I truly be redeemed?" Adam extended his hand, offering a gesture of peace. "Everyone has the right to choose their path. You can join us, Apep. Together, we can restore what has been lost. Creation is not just light. It is the acceptance of the chaos and pain we all face." Adam's words penetrated Apep's heart. A new feeling began to bloom inside him, a mix of hesitation and hope. If I can be reborn as a guardian, then I will accept your offer, Apep said, his voice now firm, though still hesitant. Tefnut, watching the scene with a mixture of disbelief and anticipation, stepped closer. Together, we can create a new world where light and shadow coexist in harmony. The union of opposites is the key to true creation. And so, with a collective gesture, the gods united their energies. Apep, now transformed, began to shine with a new light, his scales glimmering like stars in the sky. I will be a guardian, he declared, not just of what is good, but also of what is difficult, of what brings learning and growth. Thus, with the universe back in balance, Adam and the gods began to mold a new world. Light and shadow danced together, creating a space where understanding and empathy were the foundations of existence. The battle that once divided now united, turning enemies into allies, and Apep became not only part of creation, but a symbol of redemption.